Hello all and welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe, share and like our videos if you find them interesting. Here is a story about how and why the tortoise has broken shell. Relax and enjoy the story. Once upon a time, in a small village in Nigeria, there lived a tortoise named Tortilla. Tortilla was well known in the animal kingdom for his cunning wit and mischievous nature. His shell was smooth and beautiful, shining brightly in the sun. One day, Tortilla was feeling particularly bored. He had played all his tricks on the other animals and was looking for a new adventure. As he wandered through the forest, he came across a group of monkeys chattering excitedly in the trees above. "What's all the fuss about?" Tortilla called out. The monkeys looked down and saw the tortoise below. "Haven't you heard?" one of them shouted. "The king of the forest is holding a grand feast tonight and all animals are invited." Tortilla's eyes grew wide with delight. A feast fit for a king sounded like just the kind of fun he was looking for. Without wasting another moment, he scurried off towards the clearing where the feast was to take place. As Tortilla arrived, he saw animals of all shapes and sizes gathering around a great banquet table. Plates piled high with delicious fruits, nuts, leaves, and berries covered every inch. In the center sat a regal-looking lion, adorned with a crown of leaves and flowers. "This must be the king," Tortilla thought to himself. Tortilla squeezed his way through the crowd until he was right at the front. "Make way," he shouted. "The guest of honor has arrived." The animals turned and looked at Tortilla with puzzled expressions. "And just who are you?" asked the lion sternly. "Why, I'm Tortilla, the most cunning and brilliant tortoise who ever lived," he boasted. "Surely you've heard of me." The lion let out a loud roar of laughter. "You, a mere tortoise, and what makes you think you're the guest of honor at my feast?" Tortilla puffed out his chest defiantly. "Because I am the cleverest of all animals. I deserve a place of honor among you." The other animals began laughing and jeering at Tortilla's bold claims. But Tortilla was not one to back down easily. An idea sparked in his mischievous mind. "Very well, Your Majesty," said Tortilla smoothly. "Perhaps you're right, and I don't deserve a place at your table after all. However, I have a challenge for you." The lion eyed Tortilla suspiciously. "Go on, let me tell you a riddle," Tortilla proclaimed. "If you can solve it, then I will admit I'm not nearly as clever as I claimed. But if you cannot, then you must let me sit by your side as guest of honor." The lion considered this for a moment before agreeing. "Very well, Tortoise, let's hear your riddle." Tortilla cleared his throat dramatically. "Here it is. What gets wetter and wetter the more it dries?" The lion furrowed his brow, deep in thought. The other animals began whispering among themselves, utterly perplexed. After several moments, the lion shook his head. "I don't know the answer to your riddle." A sly grin spread across Tortilla's face. "Then I shall sit by your side at this grand feast." Grumbling, the lion obliged and made room for Tortilla beside him at the table. As Tortilla took his seat, he felt quite pleased with himself for outsmarting the king. The feast began, and animals dug into the bounty of food hungrily. Tortilla, however, had other plans. Slowly and discreetly, he began taking bits of food and slipping them inside his shell, hiding them away for later. As the night wore on, Tortilla's shell grew heavier and heavier with his stash. The other animals didn't notice, too engrossed in the hearty celebration. When at last the feast was over, Tortilla could barely move under the weight. "What a feast that was!" bellowed the lion. "Now, Tortoise, I believe you owe us the answer to your clever riddle." Tortilla smirked. "Why, it's a towel, Your Majesty." The animals gasped in astonishment that the simple answer had eluded them all. The lion, however, did not look amused. "You may have outwitted me this time," he growled. "But your arrogance will be your undoing one day, Tortoise." With that, the lion whipped his tail across Tortilla's shell, cracking it down the middle. All the bits of food Tortilla had been hiding came spilling out onto the ground. The animals roared with laughter at Tortilla's exposed trickery. Humiliated, Tortilla turned and ran away into the forest as fast as his little legs could carry him, his cracked shell piece banging against his back with every step. From that day forward, Tortilla learned a hard lesson about humility and honesty. And tortoises have, he carried cracked, broken shells ever since, as a reminder to never let arrogance go too far. Though Tortilla's actions were dishonest, the animals admired his cleverness and wit. They began calling tortoises, Mr. Cunning Man, as a nod to Tortilla's crafty ways. Answer: whenever you see a tortoise with a broken shell, you'll know the story behind it, the tale of the arrogant yet brilliant Tortilla who thought he could outsmart the king of the forest himself. A tortoise's cracked shell is a humble reminder to have respect, no matter how clever you may be.